welcome. My name is Elga Lejarza or Elga Lejarza, as you prefer. I'm the founder of HRTrainingClasses.com, and I have spent over 30 years in human resources with hopes of reaching, 50 years, right? Because maybe I'll be able to set the World Guinness record of 50 years in human resources, because nothing brings me more joy than helping HR professionals grow, succeed, and reach their full potential. So if you're looking to advance your career, we offer nearly 100 programs to support you. Well, now let's dive in. But before we do that, I want to clarify that I'm not an employment law attorney. Any recommendations or any insights that I provide are based on my professional knowledge and my experience. They reflect what I will do in a similar situation. However, if you require legal advice, I strongly recommend consulting with a qualified employment law attorney. Okay, so we're talking about what is stress. So it is a body's response to a challenge or to a demand, right? We're wired to survive. So when we encounter pressure, our nervous system activates this fight, flight, or freeze response, preparing us to take action. So in short phases, the stress known as eustress can really sharpen our focus. It can increase motivation. It can improve performance. But when stress lingers too long or becomes overwhelming, it shifts to distress, which can take a toll on both our physical but also our mental health. So that's why recognizing these early signs of stress, it is so important. It gives us the chance to address it before it leads to burnout or more serious issues. So let's talk about the biological purpose of stress. You know that stress is not our enemy. In fact, it's a built-in survival tool that helps humans stay alive for thousands of years. Our bodies are wired to react to danger or to any perceived threats. So this could be something physical, maybe like a vehicle losing control and heading your way. It could be emotional, maybe like a heated meeting, or maybe an unexpected change at work. So when stress hits your brain, it sends out an alert. The amygdala kicks into action and tells the rest of the body, wait. Something is not right. Get ready. So this activates the fight, flight, or freeze response. So this is when you're going to see that your heart rate is going to start increasing. Your breathing gets faster, your muscles tense up, your senses become sharper. Your body is preparing to either defend itself, escape the situation, or shut down to protect itself. In small doses, this is incredibly helpful. It helps us act fast. It helps us focus. It helps us make split-second decisions. It literally mobilizes energy throughout the body so you can respond quickly. That's the biological purpose of stress, to keep us safe, to keep us alert and ready to act when it's needed. But here's the key. This system was designed to be temporary. It was meant to help us deal with short bursts of danger, not days or weeks or months of constant pressure. So when stress becomes chronic, the same system that was meant to protect us can actually start to harm us physically, emotionally, and mentally. So understanding this gives us power, because now we can work with our biology instead of against it. And that's what we will continue exploring together today. So let's talk about two different types of stress. We got acute stress and chronic stress. Now, it is important to distinguish them because they are going to be affecting us in different ways. So acute stress is the kind of stress that comes on quickly. It hits hard and then passes. It's usually tied to a specific event or moment, like running late to a meeting or dealing with maybe an unexpected deadline. So your heart, yes, it may race, your palms are going to start sweating, but once the situation is over, your body and your mind, they start to calm down. Acute stress isn't always a bad thing. In fact, you know that it can be motivating because it sharpens your focus, it boosts your energy, it helps you get things done. So this is the kind of stress that gives athletes their age or helps you power through a busy day. So now let's look at the chronic stress. Ugh, this one is the real problem because chronic stress is ongoing. It doesn't go away after a presentation or after a tough day. It lingers, it builds. It may come from working in a toxic environment, maybe being a caregiver, maybe living paycheck to paycheck or feeling unsupported, overwhelmed day after day after day. So the danger with chronic stress is that your body stays in this constant state of alert. That means that your stress hormones like cortisol are always elevated. And over time, that wears you down. It can lead to sleep problems, anxiety, high blood pressure, digestive issues, a weakened immune system, and eventually burnout. So the key is learning how to recognize the difference. Acute stress is normal. Chronic stress needs attention. We cannot always eliminate stress, but we can manage it. We can reduce it. We can build resilience so we're not living in constant survival mode. So, as you reflect, I want you to ask yourself, which one am I feeling today? Is it acute or is it a chronic stress? And also, what can I do to support myself in either case? So how stress impacts physical and mental health? Well, let's take a few minutes to look at what stress actually does to the body and also mind, because the impact is real and it is serious. Stress affects your heart and circulatory system. When you are under stress, your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate increases, your blood vessels constrict. This is fine occasionally, but when it happens often, it puts you at higher risk for heart problems, including high blood pressure and even heart disease. You know that stress weakens your immune system, right? Cortisol, which is the stress hormone, is helpful short term, but when it is constantly elevated, it suppresses your immune responses. That means that you are more likely to catch colds or get infections or take longer heal when you are stressed out. Stress shows up in your muscles. Think about it. Tight shoulders, your jaw clenching, back pain. So prolonged muscle tension from stress can lead to headaches, chronic pain, and ongoing fatigue. It disrupts with your sleep and with your digestion because the stress can cause insomnia, light sleep, restless night, and it can either slow down digestion, leading to bloating and constipation, or it can speed it up, causing an upset stomach or frequent trips to the restroom. Stress clouds your mind, it affects your memory, your focus, and your ability to problem solve. You may feel foggy, scattered, or irritable. And over time, chronic stress increases your risk for anxiety, for depression, for emotional exhaustion, which often we refer to it as burnout. So the bottom line that stress is not just in your head. It's happening in your entire body. Every organ, every system is affected. So, any good news? The good news is that we can take steps to manage it before it causes long-term harm. And that's exactly what we're here to explore today. So, what is distress? Distress is the harmful type of stress that leads to that physical, emotional, mental strain. Distress happens when the pressure exceeds your ability to cope. It drains you instead of driving you. So, distress is the negative form of stress that overwhelms the mind and body, leading to anxiety, fear, hopelessness. So, what does that really mean? So, distress happens when the demands that we're facing exceed our ability to cope. It's not just being a little bit stressed out. This is the kind of pressure that becomes debilitating. It overwhelms both your mind and body, leading to constant worry, anxiety, fear, and sometimes even a deep sense of hopelessness. This isn't the kind of stress that motivates, it's the kind that can paralyze. Distress impairs performance and can lead to burnout or withdrawal. Distress drains your energy, it clouds your thinking, it can make you shut down emotionally or mentally. So instead of helping you perform, it hurts your productivity and can lead to burnout, disengagement, or even withdrawal from the people and tasks around you. Physical symptoms of stress may include, yes, headaches, insomnia, digestive issues, and like I said, muscle tension. Distress doesn't just live in your head, it lives in your body too. You may feel it as a pounding headache, tight shoulders, trouble sleeping, or an upset stomach. So these physical signs are often your body's way of saying, I am under too much pressure. Mental and emotional symptoms can range from irritability and sadness to memory issues and poor concentration. Mentally, distress can make it hard to focus, to solve problems, to remember things. Emotionally, you may feel more irritable than usual, or more withdrawn, or more sad. You may notice reactions are more intense, or that small things feel suddenly too big, huge, overwhelming. These are warning signs, these are not weaknesses. Chronic distress weakens the immune system, increases the risk of heart disease, depression, anxiety disorders. So, when distress becomes chronic, meaning that it lasts for weeks or months without relief, it starts to impact your overall health. You know that research show that it can weaken your immune system, raise your blood pressure, increase your risk for developing serious, very serious condition like heart disease, again, clinical depression, anxiety disorders. Well, this is why it is so important to recognize distress early and respond to it with care and with support. Distress, distress can stem from workplace conflict, unrealistic demands, toxic environments, or lack of control. So let's be clear, distress doesn't just happen out of nowhere, right? It often comes from things that we experience on a daily basis at work. This can include maybe conflict with coworkers or supervisors, feeling overwhelmed by unrealistic workloads or deadlines, trying to survive in toxic environment where people are not respected, or simply feeling like you have no control over your own schedule, over your own decisions or work processes. These are not small issues. They are chronic stressors that over time can definitely wear us down. So ignoring the stress can cause long-term damage to both physical and emotional well-being and impact job performance and relationship. So the worst thing that we can do is to pretend that it's not happening, because when the stress is left unchecked, it starts to impact our health physically and emotionally. You may notice more frequent illnesses, irritability, emotional exhaustion. So over time, this distress doesn't just affect you. It affects how you show up at work, how you connect with others, and how effective you are in your role. So ignoring the stress doesn't make it go away. It actually makes it grow. So recognizing the stress early give us the chance to intervene, to reset and prevent escalation. So again, the good news, awareness is powerful. When we recognize these early warning signs of distress, like those frequent headaches, trouble sleeping, emotional outbursts, or even this just constant fatigue, we give ourselves a chance to hit pause, and we can ask, what's really going on here? What can I do to support myself? What can I do to support someone else? Early intervention is how we prevent minor stress from turning into a major breakdown. Tools such as self-awareness, healthy boundaries, support systems can turn the stress into an opportunity for resilience and growth. And here's the empowering part. We are not helpless. The stress can actually become a launch pad for personal growth when we have the right tools. That may look like practicing again self-awareness, learning to say no, establishing boundaries, seeking support from a mentor, maybe from a therapist, or making changes that realign our lives with our values. These tools these tools don't just reduce the stress, but they build resilience, confidence, they build clarity. So, what are some signs and symptoms of this unhealthy stress? Called distress, right? Again, those frequent headaches, migraines, we suffer them, right? Stress causes tension in the muscles, especially in the neck and shoulders, often leading to these chronic headaches. Insomnia, disrupted sleep patterns, racing thoughts, anxiety, physical tension can make falling or staying asleep difficult, leaving you feeling exhausted. Irritability or mood swings, even, even minor issues may trigger frustration or emotional outbursts. A common sign that stress is taking a toll on your emotional regulation. Difficulty concentrating or forgetfulness. Stress impairs cognitive functions like memory, decision making, and focus, making even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Digestive problems, nausea, bloating, or stomach pain. The gut brain connection is strong. Stress can trigger discomfort, indigestion, and even worsen conditions like irritable bowel syndrome. Loss of motivation or increased procrastination. Tasks, tasks that used to feel manageable may start to feel impossible, leading to avoidance and disengagement. Fatigue, despite rest, chronic stress drains your energy reserves, causing physical and mental exhaustion that sleep alone doesn't fix. changes in appetite, overeating or undereating. Stress can lead to emotional eating or suppressed appetite, affecting overall health and energy levels. Isolation or withdrawal from others. A common stress response is to pull away from social connections, which unfortunately increases feelings of loneliness. So, which is the most common symptom of unhealthy stress? There it is: fatigue, exhaustion, even after we are resting. Why? When your body is under constant stress, it stays in a heightened fight or flight state. This drains your physical, mental, and emotional energy, even when you are not doing much. This chronic stress prevents deep, restorative sleep, keeps the cortisol, that is stress hormone, keeps the cortisol levels elevated. It disrupts your body's natural recovery system. So you wake up tired, you feel mentally foggy all day, and no amount of rest seems to help. So it becomes like a cycle. Stress equals exhaustion. Exhaustion equals more stress. So being tired all the time is not just life. Being tired all the time is a red flag. Irritability, mood swings, why it happens. So when your brain is constantly under stress, it reduces your ability to regulate emotions. Your nervous system is on high alert, and even small frustrations like a delayed email or a noisy coworker can trigger big emotional reactions. Stress impacts the amygdala, which governs emotional responses. So what happens is that it becomes overactive. Serotonin levels, which regulate mood, they drop. Patience and empathy, they are gone. They disappear. That's why people under stress often say, I don't know. I don't know why I snap. You know, that's not like me. But you know what? It is then. This is their stress talking. You are not crazy. You're just carrying more than your body and brain are built to handle alone. Well, let's talk about another kind of stress. This is the stress that actually help us. This is called eustress. This is this is the positive, energizing type of stress that pushes us forward instead of pulling us down. I live with eustress. So eustress is a positive, motivating form of stress. Unlike distress, which overwhelms us, eustress challenges us in a healthy way. It encourages to rise to the occasion, giving us just enough pressure to move into action, but without shutting us down emotionally or physically. It boosts performance and focus. So when you experience eustress, your brain sharpens. You become more alert. You become more productive and often more focused. It gives you the mental edge that you need to get things done with a sense of purpose. It feels exciting, not threatening. Though, so here's the big difference. Eustress is not going to feel scary. It feels exciting. Think about the first day, maybe at a new job. Think about giving a speech or maybe starting a big project that you really care about. So there's nervous energy, but it comes with enthusiasm, not with fear. It supports growth and resilience. Yes, eustress help us develop new skills, confidence, emotional strength. Every time that we stretch just a little beyond our comfort zone and we succeed, this is when we grow. That's how resilience is built, not from avoiding stress, but from managing it in small positive doses. Eustress is short term and task specific. This kind of stress usually shows up in response to a particular challenge, a test, a deadline, a presentation. But it fades once the challenge is over. It doesn't linger the way that chronic distress does. It can enhance creativity and innovation. Some of our most creative breakthroughs happen under healthy pressure. Did you know that? When we're under that good kind of stress, our brain works harder and faster, making connections we wouldn't make otherwise. Yes, it can contribute to overall well-being. Believe it or not, eustress is actually good for us. It keeps us engaged. It helps us find managing in our work, a meaning, and builds this sense of accomplishment and satisfaction when we succeed. So let's look at some examples of good stress. How about starting a new job or a promotion? You feel good about that, right? About tackling tight but exciting deadlines, public speaking at a big event or conference. I mean, obviously, when you feel comfortable with the topic that you're going to be presenting, and you just cannot wait to share that knowledge about running a business, launching a new venture. Huh? That's exciting. Oh, what about preparing for a certification like UHR certifications? How about planning a wedding or other major life events, right? So, yes, there is a stress, but it's positive stress, planning a wedding, a very happy event in our life. How about training for a marathon or fitness goal? How about leading? How about leading a big project? Oh, did I skip? How about moving to a new city or country for a fresh start, right? We want to reset and restart. How about going back to school or enrolling in a certificate program? This is good stress. So why eustress and energize people and how it helps some manage depression? The story of my life. If you know me, right? This is the story of my life. Have to keep myself busy, really, really busy, right? So I don't get depressed. So eustress can energize people and how it helps manage the depression. Well, number one, it promotes that motivation and purpose. Eustress can create a sense of direction direction and drive, helping people focus on goals and objectives, on strategies, on solutions, instead of ruminating on negative thoughts. Gotta keep myself busy. Triggers positive brain chemicals. Healthy challenges can boost dopamine, endorphins, which improve mood and counter some symptoms of depression. It builds resilience and confidence. So, tackling manageable stressors like maybe learning a new skill or leading a project reinforces a person's belief in their ability to cope and thrive. And this is how you build not just the resilience, but the confidence. It breaks mental stagnation. Eustress pushes individuals out of mental paralysis by encouraging action, productivity, and progress. Key step in lifting depressive fog. It encourages connection and engagement. Pursuing meaningful activities under slight pressure often involves teamwork, learning, social interactions, which can ease isolation, which we know is linked to depression. It promotes this sense of purpose. Eustress often comes from meaningful challenges like studying a project, or maybe learning something new, which can give people a sense of direction and accomplishment, something that's often diminished in depression. It activates goal-oriented behavior. I love this. This is that the eustress pushes individuals into action rather than inaction. So by engaging in tasks that have clear goals, strategies, solutions, outcomes, people can break the cycle of negative thought patterns and inertia that are very common in depression. So many of you who know me, you're probably now saying, oh, that's why she keeps herself really busy. Exactly. Okay, time for a little question. Where is my shot? My shot got lost in my screen. That is not a good thing. It's right here. Okay, so I want you to participate and I want you to respond to this easy breezy question. Which of the following are positive brain chemicals? Dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, oxytocin, and norepinephrine. It's called norepinephrine. A and B, dopamine and serotonin. 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 I should know better, because I'm very familiar with serotonin. A and B, or C and D, endorphins and oxytocin. Is it all of the above or is it none of the above? Time for me to see the shot. Okay, you know about positive brain chemicals. You're absolutely right. It's all of the above. Excellent. Thank you so much. That is correct. Very good. All righty. So how we all experience stress differently. So let's look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's look at these 6 bullet points on how we all experience stress differently. So biological hormones, genetics, and brain chemistry influence how each person reacts to stressors. What feels overwhelming to one person, guess what? May energize somebody else. How about life experiences, childhood trauma, past hardships, and even prior wins shape how we perceive and how we handle current stress. Ooh, what about personality type? Are you type A or are you type B? I'm gonna be creating an article. I find this very interesting about type A and type B. So don't miss that on LinkedIn. So personality type A, these individuals may thrive on their deadlines. That is me, 100%. While type B individuals may prefer a calmer, more flexible pace. I can. About coping mechanisms. Some turn to exercise, others maybe to journaling, maybe to humor, maybe to social support. So coping styles can be learned or can be instinctual. About cultural background. Absolutely. Cultural norms and values influence how people express stress or even how define it. We know that in some cultures, we don't hide our feelings, right? We are to express our feelings. But in other cultures, we are to hide them. We don't show them. How about neurodiversity in mental health? Those with ADHD or anxiety or depression or autism may process and experience stress in a completely unique ways, making one-size-fits-all solutions definitely ineffective. Everyone's stress response is personal, and understanding that make us better leaders, colleagues, and also better humans. Okay, stress There you go. Stress is not one size fits all. We often talk about stress like it is a universal experience, but in reality, stress show up differently for everyone. See, what pushes one person to excel may cause another to shut down. So recognizing this difference is key, especially in leadership, in workplace environments where empathy and flexibility make all the difference. So let's look at these few reasons why stress is not a one size fits all experience. Triggers vary greatly. One person may thrive under tight deadlines. Mm, definitely, I'm going to say that's me. While another needs structure and planning to avoid overwhelm. About brain chemistry and hormones, right? We were just talking about that, like the levels of cortisol, serotonin, and other neurotransmitters shape how intensely we experience stress. Again, those cultural and personal upbringing, how we are raised and where we are raised, influence how we perceive pressure. Again, how we express our emotions and how we cope with the stressors. Mental health matters. Conditions such as anxiety, depression, PTSD, ADHD, they change the way stress is processed and how it is expressed. About coping, strategies are going to be different from physical activity and mindfulness to social interaction or solitude. Everyone has different outlets that help them bounce back. So, understanding that stress doesn't look or feel the same for everyone allow us to build healthier, more compassionate environments, whether at work or at home. Empathy, you know that empathy is the new superpower. Empathy is the new superpower. So how stress helps you stay out of depression? I should have put my picture here, right? So while we often think of stress as something to avoid, a certain level of stress, especially eustress, remember that positive stress, can actually protect your mental health and keep depressive symptoms at bay. And this is how boost motivation and purpose. So when you are under a manageable amount of stress, like again, preparing maybe for a presentation or managing a project, your brain stays active and focused. This sense of purpose gives your day a structure and direction, which can help ward off feelings of helplessness and emptiness that often accompany depression. Encourages engagement with life. Positive stress keeps you engaged with your goals, social connections, and responsibilities. So having something to work toward or someone relying on you can promote emotional resilience and reduce isolation, which is a major contributor to depression. So those of you who know me very well, now you understand why Elga can stop, right? I need to have a project after another project, after another project, and then after that, there are 10 more projects. See? It's not negative. This is why I need. Everyone is different. Triggers healthy brain chemistry. Eustress can stimulate the release of dopamine. Serotonin, I need it, please. Serotonin, I need you. Endorphins, all of which improve mood and combat depressive lows. I don't want to be there again. It can also enhance neuroplasticity, helping your brain adapt and grow stronger under pressure. It fosters problem solving and growth. So working through challenges builds confidence teaches coping strategies. So overcoming stressful events make you more emotionally prepared for future adversity, reducing your vulnerability to depressive episodes. It keeps you moving. Stress can serve as an internal engine that keeps you from becoming stagnant, staying active mentally, physically, or emotionally. It can reduce rumination, which is a common feature of depression. So, in conclusion, not all stress is bad. The right kind of stress can energize, uplift, and keep you emotionally engaged in life. Now, rest looks different for different people. And you know what? That is okay because rest is not a one size fits all. For some, rest means taking a nap or binge watching a favorite show. For others, it could mean gardening, journaling, going for a walk, or even tackling a creative project. What restores your energy may not look relaxing to someone else. And that's the beauty of it, right? That's when people ask me, what do you do on the weekends, Elga? And I say, I work. No, but for a hobby, I work. No, but to relax, Elga, what do you do to relax? Was my response. I work. Mhm. True rest is about what recharges you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Honor your own version of rest without comparing to anyone else's. Not everyone finds relief in unplugging. Some feel more energized by staying engaged. For many, work or passion projects provide a structure, purpose, and even emotional support. Encouraging complete disconnection may unintentionally cause anxiety for those who cope differently. One size fits all rest strategies can overlook the diversity of coping styles and needs. It's more supportive to let individuals define what recharging looks like for them. Okay, so let's do a quick scenario activity. I want you to imagine yourself in the following two situations. I got two situations here. So number one, what would you do? You are an HR generalist, recently promoted to oversee your first major training rollout. You got tight deadlines, packed schedule, and a lot of eyes on you, including your boss. Despite the pressure, you feel energized. You thrive on the challenge, stay up late refining your slides, and even add a bonus resource guide. On presentation day, you're nervous but ready, and you deliver a top-notch session that gets excellent feedback. So, will you take a moment to recognize how good stress helped you grow and consider seeking out more stress assignments? Or will you step back and reflect on how to build in better balance next time to avoid burning out? So think about that. Guess what? There's no wrong answer here. Both responses are definitely valid. They tell us something powerful about how we process pressure and performance. So if you lean toward the first option, that may mean that you thrive on what we call eustress, a healthy kind of stress that pushes us to rise to the occasion. You're someone who is fueled by challenge. Now, if you lean toward the second, that shows self awareness and a focus on sustainability. It's just as important to pause and make sure your success is not coming at the cost of your well-being. So what's the key takeaway over here? Eustress can be a catalyst, but only if we also know how to recover from it. Awareness is what turns good stress into long-term growth and no burnout. Okay, another scenario. You are an HR manager at a company facing a sudden compliance audit. You have been managing employee relations, onboarding, and now legal documentation, all without support. You start feeling overwhelmed, snapping at colleagues, forgetting basic tasks. Sleep is nearly impossible. You know your mental health is starting to slip, but you are afraid to admit it. Will you communicate with leadership about the urgent need for support or reallocation? Or will you implement boundaries, delegate, or even seek short-term relief through EAP? Okay, so let's take a breath and sit with this one, right? For just a moment. Because this scenario may hit a little closer to home for many of us. Distress is not just a bad day of feeling behind. It's that chronic, unrelenting pressure that starts affecting how we think, how we behave, and even how we treat others. It's the kind of stress that slowly chips away at our well-being. And yet, so often, especially in HR, we try to push through it in silence. So ask yourself honestly, is this where you, or is this you, or is what will you do in this situation? So will you find that courage to communicate with leadership about needing the help, even if it feels vulnerable, maybe even if it feels uncomfortable? Will you start setting boundaries, redistributing workload, or even explore support through maybe EAP? Well, there's no shame in asking for help. One of the most powerful things that we can do as HR professionals is to model healthy behavior, not just resilience, but also self-awareness. You know that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and no matter how strong you are not meant to carry it all alone. So I would say that this scenario reminds us that distress doesn't make us weak. It makes us human. And recognizing it early is going to be the first step toward protecting our health, our relationship, and our effectiveness in our roles. Okay, I got some scenarios over here. Is it distress or is it eustress? Very simple. Looking at the time that I have left because Elga talks too much. Thank you. Let's see. Distress versus eustress. You can just put D if it's distress, you can put an E. Very simple. D or E. Is it distress or eustress? Getting fired from a job. Ooh, thank you. Definitely D, distress. How about this one? Thank you. I'm moving fast through this, okay? Starting a new position that you're excited about. Eustress. Thank you. Thank you. How about being overwhelmed? Overwhelmed by back-to-back meetings with no breaks. John, you're fast. John is always like number one. Hey, thank you, Sherelle. Okay. How about number 4? Leading a presentation on a topic that you're passionate about. Eustress, you're right. How about number 5? Receiving negative feedback without support. Distress. How about training for your first 5K run? Sounds like eustress. Thank you, you're all fast. About number 7, dealing with a toxic coworker daily. Ugh, distress. Thank you. About launching a new business or side hustle. That's positive stress. Eustress. Oh, hi. Working on this one now. I can always help you. Losing a loved one. I just did a couple of days ago. Distress. About planning your dream vacation. You got it. Eustress. How about being micromanaged and undervalued at work? Distress. About preparing for a certification exam that you are determined to pass. And you're gonna pass if you're in my bootcamp, right? Absolutely. Eustress. About financial stress with mounting debt. Distress. About competing in a fun workplace challenge. I love the E's and the D's. Thank you. Definitely eustress. About caring for a sick relative without support. Distress. Thank you. About organizing a big family celebration. Eustress. About facing unclear expectations in your role. Distress. About taking on leadership role in a volunteer group. Did I skip one? I think I did. Olga's losing her eyesight. Facing unclear expectations in your role. Thank you. Distress. Okay, moving to number 19. Sudden change in company leadership and lack of communication. Distress. How about mentoring someone and watching them succeed? Thank you so much. Definitely eustress. You see, not all the stress is going to be negative. Okay, so this is what I always ask my mom. This is when my mom says, please, mi amor, my love, please slow down, slow down. Please relax, don't do anything, slow down. And I go, Mom, you get to pick. You get to pick, Mom. What do you want? Do you want an stressed Elga? Or do you want a depressed Elga in bed with no energy, no desire to do anything, no goals and no objectives? Mom, you get to pick. Your choice. What do you want? You want a stressed Elga or do you want a depressed Elga? You know what she says? Okay, I'll take the stressed Elga. Well, there you got it, Mom. Okay, so after hosting today's free webinar on stress, mental health, workplace pressure, I was reminded just how critical this topic is for all of us in the HR leadership and management roles. So that's exactly, and that is why I want to extend a limit time 50% discount. I have never done a 50% discount on any of my training programs. So this is the two-day mental health and corporate wellness in the workplace certificate program. If you're interested or if you know somebody can definitely benefit from this, please take a look at HRTrainingClasses.com and use this code wellness 50. The next one is June 26 and 27. This is one that I created and I really enjoy because I go over a lot of different signs and symptoms that we're able to recognize in the workplace for mental health and to provide support, to provide assistance. Okay, I got 2 minutes. Hey, look, I didn't forget, Lori. Didn't forget the credit hours this time, right? So as we come, oh, thank you. I just took this a month ago, great course. Thank you so much. So as we come to the conclusion of today's session, oh, Erin, I took that last year. Oh, thank you so much. So as we come to the conclusion of today's session, thank you so much. I want to leave you with this important reminder. Stress doesn't always have to be the villain. Sometimes it's the very fuel that pushes us to grow, to show up stronger, to accomplish more than we thought possible. It's not about eliminating stress completely. It's about recognizing the kind that energizes us and learning to manage the kind that drain us. So as you live today, I encourage you to reflect on how do you experience the stress, reframe it when possible, and never forget that rest and resilience can look differently for everyone, and that's more than okay. So now, when I tell you what I do on the weekends, work, 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 for for my hobby, to rest, work, work, work. Now you understand why, right? Well, all I have to say is thank you. Oh, make sure that you get the codes. I always forget. There they are, right? So you have HRCI, as you can see it, right? Write those down, 1 hour, and also shrm. So all I have to say, oh, thank you so much. All I have to say is stay informed, stay prepared, and stay empowered. And until then, I will see you next month.